Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game So today we're going to be doing a series on the MiSTer FPGA DE10 Nano project, more specifically in this instance, Taki Udon Retro Remake SuperStation One. Well, I just recently did a video on this last week. There's been a ton of new news dumped onto everybody, and this project keeps expanding in all of the best and most fun ways. I'm going to be talking about what has been added here, when the expected ship date is, because that has been updated, and show you a lot more of what the SuperStation One actually is doing, because this thing is still slated for Q3, and obviously we always knew the intent was that it could dump and play PlayStation 1 discs, but now it's doing a whole lot more than that, and we have some initial PCB photos as well that we're going to go over. Before we get too far involved though, do me a huge favor down below, hit like and subscribe and ring that notification bell, definitely helps us out. If you feel so inclined and want to support the channel, I got a Patreon link down below as well. You'll see here that Taki Udon uploaded 3 different photos of a SuperStation One PCB. Now I don't know if this is going to be the final design. A lot of times these things go under multiple prototyping phases to make sure everything works, but if we take a little bit of a closer look, pretty self-explanatory. Right in the middle, that's going to be where the BGA chip, the Cyclone 5 FPGA in fact, is going to be soldered directly to the board. You'll see here that looks like it's going to be for onboard RAM as well. A lot of these pads are just going to be populated by different resistors, but if we take a look a little bit further down, you're going to see where you're going to see the S video as well as the composite cans, so you get those video signals out of the right hand side. If we just take a further look, you're going to see up here probably where the HDMI chips are going to go, because it is closest to the actual HDMI port, and that's definitely going to be important if you want to get a digital signal out of the back of the SuperStation One. Now if we take a look at the underside of the PCB, not as interesting. I'm not sure what all the different footprints are here for the different chips. Obviously you're going to have some sort of USB chip to be able to correspond and communicate with all of the different USB peripherals you put in. You're going to need something for a snack, and of course you have a bunch of through holes for different ports like power, both 5 volt as well as USB-C you're seeing here. There's also going to be 2 different rows of dips, which is a dip 6 package and a dip 4 package. Again, not sure what a lot of these things are for. We'll have to wait for a review unit to come in and kind of talk about exactly what everything does inside. But if I had to guess, it'd probably be for 18 to 24 bit color switching, or at least for one, but again, I am guessing at this. Now in the previous video we talked about the fact that SuperStation One was always designed to dump PlayStation 1 discs to an actual internal SD card or an SSD on the dock, and then allow you to load them up when you put the disc in, basically treating the disc like a flag set to be able to load up those files. But last week Taki Udon previewed actually loading from the disc in and of itself, so you're reading from the disc, all of the data, all of the streaming audio is being spun up and ingested into the FPGA core, versus actually just being dumped and then executing like you would any other file on your MiSTer FPGA. And this is definitely a fun party trick. It seems to be loading about as fast as you would expect a real PlayStation 1 to load, but again, a lot of those lasers are old, and a lot of times different systems had slightly different loading times, just depending on what revision of the hardware it is. But even seeing this was a ton of fun, but Taki Udon's taken it a lot further, because basically in that video, a lot of people asked me, and of course I don't know, I have to wait for the information as well, if other CD consoles are going to be supported. Additionally, there was questions like, could you launch an audio CD for some of the PlayStation 1 games to support it? Think of something like Vid Ribbon, or playing your own soundtrack in something like Ridge Racer, because you could do that back in the day. The entire game loaded up into RAM, then you can actually pop a CD in and play whatever custom soundtrack you wanted. So it seems like that is going to be possible. It's not demoed here, but being able to load up audio disc is something that has been previewed by Taki in like the last 24 hours or so. So let's take a look at that. You'll see here, rounding out the week, they added support for playing physical audio CDs on SuperStation One. In essence, what that means is any console that can play audio CDs with a music player, like a PlayStation 1, Sega Saturn, anything like that, is also going to be able to be used on SuperStation One streaming live. So something like the music visualizer from the PlayStation 1 core and PlayStation 1 hardware are going to be working on SuperStation One. It is, again, maybe not the biggest feature in the world, but we still have a lot more to cover in this video. But it was one of the questions that basically I got asked a ton of when I did last week's update news video. But you'll see here, you pop into the Sega CD core, another system that can play audio CDs, and you're going to have that all working as well with that heads-up display. Never quite sure what that was supposed to be. Kind of looks like some sort of 90s video camera with an LCD screen on the side. And if you move over to another system, PC Engine CD, you're going to have the exact same thing. You're going to be able to play audio discs in there. So that definitely works. It has been confirmed, so now you guys know about that. And somebody actually asked if SuperStation One will be able to play burnt CDs, and Taki Udon said yes. Not sure why anyone would want to burn CDs. Just pop the files on your SD card from another source, but it is something that is going to work. And you'll see here, basically Taki Udon Retro Remake have been going down the line with all of the different CD-based consoles we have on MiSTer FPGA, and at least playing around and testing CD support loading from disk. We're talking about the PC Engine CD right here, and that is a system that has a metric ton of amazing games on it. And sure, while all of them will play without the CD inserted, if you do have something like a PC Engine CD collection like I do, it seems like you're going to be able to put those into your SuperStation One, definitely dump them, and definitely be able to play off disk, at least as what I'm seeing. Now, of course, things are subject to change, so we'll have to wait a little bit to find out exactly what's going on. And somebody asked, and this is a very common question I get as well, can it play DVD movies? And apparently it could technically, but the performance isn't great, and that is because DVDs do have to have an MPEG decoder on board to be able to actually work. So I guess that's going to be out, but again, I'm not quite sure why you guys would need that. Obviously, I have so many consoles next to my television, I just pop a DVD into anything else, but it would be a fun thing if it could work, but I really wouldn't expect that one. Now moving over, you'll see Saturn CD support is also in as well, and these are booting up from the disk. They're not being dumped to the actual SD card or the SSD. So it'll be fun to see when this actually comes out, playing around with those original discs, because that is the thing. A lot of us, myself included, have a ton of original games in our collections, and even though for the most part I would probably just load up the file or dump the disk, it would be fun to be able to put it into the SuperStation One dock and basically treat it like an FPGA console that's running the games in real time. Think stuff like analog CD-based consoles, except on the MiSTer FPGA side of things. And that has definitely been something that people have been asking for the longest time, the ability to play real media. It has nothing to do with cartridges in this instance, but CDs seem to be good to go. And you'll see here, someone was asking if there's auto detect for CD types, that way you would launch the right core, and it's possible for PlayStation 1. Taki hasn't looked at the others, so definitely something maybe you might have to actually select the core for yourself. And somebody asked, and I know you're going to ask this again in the video, does Q3 2025 still feel attainable? Taki Udon says yes, so that seems good as well. Now moving over to Sega CD and actual CDs, you'll see here Taki Udon's also demonstrating those loading up on the core. There is a black screen in the capture just showing you that for the timing, but this seems like something that's going to be doable on SuperStation One as well. And that really, again, is exciting, and I know a lot of you are going to absolutely love that, because since the MiSTer FPGA project had existed, everyone asked when they can use real media. Don't expect this to come to actual MiSTer FPGA triple stack. It's one of those things. This is definitely a fork of the software, and even though it 100% do everything a MiSTer will, it is custom software and will probably only ever live on SuperStation One. And for a little bit of fun design aesthetic, Taki's also talking about having a high gloss black logo with different stickers in the box, so you could kind of actually put the sticker on you want for the different colorways. I really like this matte black, kind of does it for me, but of course if you want that classic kind of RGB looking thing right here, you can get that as well. And then because the factory made a mistake and it kind of looked good, there might even be a reflective sticker as well. That's one of those things. I love the overall customizability of SuperStation One and where it's going. And then somebody asked us about why there's a memory card slot. Wouldn't it just be easier to save to the SD card? And basically that's kind of half the concept of the SuperStation One. You have those built-in snack adapters for PlayStation 1 controllers as well as memory cards, so you'll never actually have to leave the game and go into the menu to save. And even though that only takes like 2 seconds or so, it's going to be a really fun bonus. And then somebody mentioned it would be great if the logo also lit up when powered on, and Taki said don't tempt me. And that's kind of the fun part about the SuperStation One in general. You get all of these updates coming out on Twitter. You get to see all the developments happen in real time, and you kind of get to follow along with the design process. And I think that's what a lot of people like about Retro Remake in general. Now don't get me wrong, analog makes a great console, but you basically get told it's coming soon, you get a couple delays, and then suddenly there's a box on your doorstep with the console inside of it. But how the overall process is going on the development and engineering side of things, you never really get a peek behind the curtain on that, versus something like SuperStation One, where basically every day or every 2 days you get some sort of mini info dump, whether or not it's loading CDs, audio CDs, how the case design is going, some of the injection molding tests, even the overall logo color, and potentially giving you stickers. So you kind of just get to feel like you're part of the process. You get to follow along with the news and what's happening, because right now we have all these different CD systems loading off the disc. We have audio CDs, we have PCB photos, and we even have potential potential different color logos out there. And obviously in the last video I showed you a sample from Taki of the case that he posted on Twitter. So clearly this project is coming along, and it still seems like they are targeting Q3 2025. So that would probably be by the end of September, so we'll have to wait and see. But again, this is just fun. All of the real-time updates following along with the project, and so many of the things that you've requested as features have made their way into SuperStation One. I absolutely love to see it. If you have any questions, leave them down below, but we're done. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.